Welcome to Cooking with Karen, again, grain-free. We're going to be making a wonderful tomato soup. Very simple. It's from this cookbook, Grain Brain. It is on page 73, and he even names it Really Great Tomato Soup. We are using this. I don't have a scale to weigh these, so this amount of tomatoes, a heaping cup of onion. I'll be chopping up 4 cloves of garlic. A couple of them are a pretty nice size, and freshly picked basil out of my garden. These tomatoes are from my garden also, so it's kind of fun. I'm just about to chop up my garlic, but I wanted to point out this. I don't know if you're like me, but I really like handmade items, either for gifts or for around my house. This is actually a photo that a friend of mine, who is an artist, a photographer, she made this cutting board with her original artwork, her original shot. It was taken in Michigan, near Port Huron, and she does wonderful work. You can get coasters and cutting boards and original framed photos. Her Etsy shop is Casa de Vero, and I urge you to check her out. On to chopping. I have everything chopped and ready to go, except for the tomatoes, because what you do first, you take a whole stick of butter, and I want to remind everybody to use grass-fed butter for the healthiest. This is the brand that I get because that's what Whole Foods carries. You take a whole stick of butter, and then you add your garlic, your onions, and your basil, which I will chop up and put in. This is going to come to a very low simmer. You want to have your heat on low. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now because it's already. And you want to cook this for about 20 minutes. It's going to cook very slow. You don't want the onion to turn a color. You just want it to be nice and soft. So there we go. We'll put that in. Stir that up. And we'll let that cook for 20 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to core just the top, take out the basic core of the tomato and just chop them up. You go through a process at the end that will strain the seeds and any chunks of peeling. Okay, this has cooked for 20 minutes, and now I'm going to add the tomatoes. And that was the Detroit Tigers you might have heard behind us. And now we will let this cook up for about 25 minutes. I'll set my timer, and it should look mushy and soupy. Give that a good stir. So it's been, well, I have 8 minutes left. I forgot to say that you do want to turn your heat up for this stage when you put the tomatoes in at medium-low, not just low. And it calls for salt and pepper to taste. So I just shake some in. And that looks good. And then for salt, my Himalayan pink salt, I don't know. That looks good. So, got about 7.5 more minutes, and it's getting mushy. Okay, my timer went off, so I want to show you the consistency. I guess I should turn it off. This is the consistency of the soup. Soupy, mushy. Okay, the next step, Dr. Perlmutter in the instructions in the recipes, he says to take a blender and you do a little bit at a time in the blender and blend it up. But I like to use my stick blender, and it goes pretty quick. It's going to get loud. I like to make sure that it's very well blended. It's getting nice and thick and creamy. And then this next step, this is the strainer that I use. If you use anything that's finer than this, the soup is so thick it won't go through at all. So I just put this over a bowl. I guess I should be pouring this way. Good to the last drop is what I say. And this soup is not vegan, but it is vegetarian, I believe. Yeah, I'm paleo, so I eat butter, but vegans wouldn't eat butter, if I'm correct. And then I just take my spatula and just keep moving it around. You can see all the peelings and seeds that it's catching. And there we have it. Yummy tomato soup made from organic tomatoes grown in my organic garden. There's a lot under there. Alright, I'll show you the consistency of the soup. Yum!